Welcome to Randall Riley's Weekly Report. I'm Joshua Miller. Let's not waste any time and jump right into all the latest numbers on driver recruiting. This week in job board searches and clicks. Job board activity remained flat and clicks decreased for the second consecutive week. Click-through rate declined week over week for all major segments. Postings for owner ops and teams saw double-digit decreases in click-through rate, while postings for company drivers and inexperienced or trainee drivers saw single-digit drops. These declines in click-through rate would seem to indicate that drivers are becoming even more selective in who they apply to, and there may not be as many drivers browsing jobs with serious intent to apply. Now for the numbers themselves. Truck driver searches were flat week over week, down 9% month over month, and down 18% year over year. Meanwhile, clicks on truck driver postings were down 7% week over week, 10% month over month, and 50% year over year. This week in freight. Decreases in dry van and refrigerated volumes reflect further stabilization after February's extreme winter weather. However, another potential disruptor is on the horizon, as the most recent stimulus bill will be impacting the economy soon. The likely increase in consumer spending comes as retail inventories are already among the leanest on record. So be prepared. The pressure to move goods will be strong for the coming weeks and months. Load posting volume in the truckstop.com system fell by 4% week over week, but remained 89% higher than the same week in 2020. Dry van load postings declined by 4% week over week, but volume again remained more than double the volume saw in the same week of 2020. Are you noticing a pattern here? Refrigerated fell by 12%, but here again, the volume was still 93% higher than the same week in 2020. Flatbed posting rose by 5% week over week, and this sets the third consecutive all-time weekly high. On the truck posting side of things, we saw a decrease of 2% week over week. However, all three segments remained relatively level. Dry van fell by 4%, refrigerated rose by 3%, and flatbed fell by 4% week over week. Spot rates eased by 1 cent per mile. Rates for dry van and refrigerated were both down week over week, while flatbed spot rates rose by 3 cents per mile. And important note here, rates are now around 32% higher than the same week in 2020. And now for our story of the week. 2020 brought a lot of change and was a year unlike any other we've ever seen before for many reasons. I mean, if we're being honest here, it was pretty much a dumpster fire of a year. One big change was the shrinking driver pool. We saw many experienced and veteran drivers retire or simply move on to other industries. Of course, the virus did have a role to play here, as many older drivers cited concerns about the job's exposure to infection during exit interviews. Others were forced to leave the driver pool to tend to family members who had become infected with the virus. In addition to COVID, we had the FMCSA Drug and Alcohol Clearinghouse that removed almost 50,000 drivers, and unfortunately, there have been far fewer young men and women entering the workforce to replace those that are leaving. With this shortage of drivers, carriers who attract and retain quality drivers have a major advantage. How can carriers do this? Fleets have seen success by keeping their drivers engaged and connected, reducing downtime, helping them overcome challenges to the job in any way they can, and conveying their respect and appreciation for the job that they do. In fact, one carrier in particular saw their turnover rate drop by 15% after making a concerted effort to improve in these specific areas. The one thing that seems like a sure bet to attract new people to the industry is pay. As we continue to see average length of haul decrease due to e-commerce influenced distribution networks, the traditional pay per mile structure just isn't as attractive as it once was. Moves towards salary pay, daily rates, and guaranteed pay are all starting to find traction and success among some fleets. Finding new drivers is critical to growth in the current market condition, and some carriers, especially those with local routes, are doing this by filling in-house training schools with their current dock workers who show an interest in driving and are a good cultural fit. And that does it for yet another edition of the show that takes a look back to help you move forward. For the Weekly Report, I'm Joshua Miller, and until next time, have a great week, everybody.